Hello, lovely gardeners, and welcome back to Time for Gardening. We all have that one spot in the garden, don't we? That awkward, skinny side yard, the gloomy corner where nothing seems to grow, or that jagged patch near the fence that just collects clutter. It's easy to ignore these forgotten corners, but what if I told you they hold the most potential? Today, I'm sharing 30 whimsical and practical ways to transform those tricky nooks into breathtaking cottage garden sanctuaries. Whether you are dealing with deep shade, weird angles, or just a lack of space, we are going to turn those problem areas into your favorite secret retreats. So grab your tea, get comfortable, and make sure you stay with me until the very end, because you won't want to miss the final inspiration that turns a simple path into a magical journey. Let's get growing. We often treat those narrow side yards as mere passageways, rushing through them to get to the real garden. But what if we slowed down the journey? By lining that slender path with creeping thyme or lavender, you engage your senses before you even reach the backyard. With every step, you'll release a cloud of herbal fragrance, turning a mundane walk into an aromatic experience. It's a wonderful way to tell visitors and remind yourself that in a cottage garden, the journey is just as beautiful as the destination. When you don't have the ground space to plant out, the only way is up. A blank fence in a narrow strip can feel oppressive, but by attaching a rustic wooden pallet or a vertical trellis system, you suddenly have a canvas for cascading color. Imagine terracotta pots filled with trailing strawberries or petunias hanging at eye level, softening those hard timber lines. It draws the eye upward, making the space feel like a lush, living corridor rather than a boxed-in alley. Sometimes a narrow space feels tight simply because we can see all the way to the end of it. The solution is to interrupt that view with a moment of beauty, like a slender metal arch draped in climbing clematis. By placing an arch at the entrance of a side yard, you frame the view and turn a simple walkway into a portal. It creates a sense of transition and mystery, promising that whatever lies beyond that blooming threshold is special and worth discovering. This is one of my favorite secrets for small, awkward spaces. Using mirrors to borrow light and double the greenery. By hanging a vintage, weather-worn window frame with a mirror backing on a blind wall, you create an illusion of depth that tricks the eye. Suddenly, a cramped corner looks like a window into another part of the garden. It reflects the sunlight into dark spaces and doubles your blooms, adding a touch of Alice in Wonderland whimsy that fits perfectly into the cottage aesthetic. In a skinny garden strip, wide bushes just won't fit, but there is always room for the towering elegance of hollyhocks. These classic cottage favorites grow tall and straight, hugging the fence line without encroaching on your walking path. Planting a row of them creates a vertical parade of blooms that draws the eye skyward. It's a nostalgic nod to old-fashioned gardens, proving that even a strip of earth just a few inches wide can host a spectacular show of color. Shady corners often frustrate gardeners who crave bright blooms, but these spots offer a different kind of beauty, texture. Instead of fighting the dark, embrace it by planting a quilt of hostas, mixing varieties with blue-green, lime, and cream-edged leaves. The result is a lush tapestry that looks beautiful even without flowers. It turns a dark, neglected mud patch into a cool, calming retreat where the interplay of leaf shapes and variegation creates a soothing visual rhythm. If you have a dark spot under a mature tree where grass refuses to grow, don't force it. Turn it into something magical for the grandchildren. A simple circle of ferns and a miniature door propped against the trunk suggests that fairies might be living just out of sight. This adds a layer of storytelling to your garden that brings out the inner child in everyone. It's low maintenance because it relies on moss and shade lovers, but it adds a high-impact charm that makes that dark corner feel intentional and enchanted. There is something deeply nostalgic about the bleeding heart. For many of us, it brings back memories of our grandmother's gardens. These delicate beauties thrive exactly where other plants struggle, in the cool, quiet shadows. Dedicating a shaded nook specifically to them creates a romantic, old-world vignette. When they bloom in spring, their heart-shaped flowers dangling from arched stems turn a gloomy corner into a celebration of delicate, timeless beauty. Dark corners tend to disappear in the evening, but you can bring them back to life by planting exclusively with white flowers. White impatiens, hydrangeas, and silver-leafed brunnera catch the fading light and seem to glow when the sun goes down. This creates a moon garden effect, illuminating the darkest parts of your yard naturally. It's a sophisticated way to brighten deep shade, ensuring that every inch of your garden sparkles, even at twilight. Damp, dark corners can be a headache, or they can be an opportunity to create a scene that looks like it has been there for centuries. By arranging a few weathered rocks and encouraging moss to grow, you can build a serene, ancient-looking rockery. Ferns and moss love these conditions, and they require very little from you once established. It brings a sense of permanence and stillness to the garden, turning a problem spot into a zen-like sanctuary of green. We often have those sharp, 90-degree corners where fences meet that feel harsh and boxy. One of the easiest ways to soften this is to place a small, wrought iron bistro set right in the angled out toward the garden. Even if you rarely sit there, the furniture itself acts as a sculpture, inviting the idea of rest. It transforms a dead corner into a destination, suggesting that at any moment, you could pause there with a cup of tea and enjoy your hard work. Angles are hard, but nature is soft and curved. To break up the rigidity of a square corner, drop in a circle, specifically a classic stone birdbath. Surrounded by a soft planting of drift roses or catmint, it becomes an instant focal point. The round shape contrasts beautifully with the sharp fence lines, while the water attracts birds that bring movement and life to the edge of your property. It anchors the space, giving the eye a soft place to land. Sometimes you don't want to dig up a corner, especially if the soil is poor or full of roots. The solution is a massive singular statement pot, layered lasagna style with bulbs, tulips, daffodils, and hyacinths planted at different depths. This creates an explosion of continuous spring color in one contained spot. It's a low-effort way to add a huge punch of brightness to a dull corner, drawing attention away from the fence and onto the blooms. If you want to make the walls of your garden disappear, there is no better magician than a climbing rose. By placing an obelisk trellis deep in the corner and training a rose like New Dawn to climb it, you add vertical drama that blurs the boundaries. The height lifts the eye, while the foliage and flowers hide the join where the fences meet. It turns a sharp, structural boundary into a pillar of romance, adding that quintessential cottage garden height. Sometimes the best way to deal with a modern ugly corner is to hide it behind something rustic and charming. A small section of curved wattle fencing placed in front of the corner creates a soft, organic backdrop for your plants. You can plant tall foxgloves or hollyhocks behind the wattle, letting them peek over. It instantly adds a layer of history and texture, making your garden feel like it belongs to a countryside cottage, regardless of where you actually live. We all have them, air conditioning units or meters that ruin the view. A permanent fence might block access, which is why a row of tall, potted plants is the perfect compromise. Ornamental grasses or contained bamboo offer a lush, green screen that moves beautifully in the breeze. Because they are in pots, they can easily be shifted if a technician needs access. It's a flexible mobile solution that turns an eyesore into a feature of texture and movement. Camouflage doesn't always mean hiding something completely. Sometimes it means distracting the eye with something prettier. Leaning a salvaged rusty iron gate in front of a utility unit creates a distraction piece that fits the cottage aesthetic perfectly. Plant some airy cosmos or cleome to weave through the bars, and suddenly, you aren't looking at a metal box anymore. You're looking at a piece of art. It adds character and age to the garden while serving a very practical purpose. If you have a shed wall that stares blankly at you, treat it like a room in your house. By hanging a decorative wreath, some old garden tools, or even a vintage watering can on the exterior wall, you break up the monotony. This creates a feature wall that celebrates the work of gardening. It turns a flat, boring surface into a rustic display that feels cozy and lived in, adding personality to a purely functional structure. For a larger utility area that needs serious screening, nothing beats the soft, billowing power of hydrangeas. A row of Annabelle or limelight hydrangeas creates a dense, living wall of blooms that completely obscures whatever lies behind it. The massive flower heads draw all the attention, and the thick foliage acts as a sound buffer, too. It's a solution that provides cut flowers for your vases, while keeping the practical mechanics of your home hidden away. Trash bins are a necessity, but they don't have to be visible. Building or buying a simple three-sided trellis to surround your bin area gives you a vertical surface to grow evergreen jasmine or honeysuckle. Not only does this hide the plastic bins from view, but the fragrant vines also help mask any odors. It turns the most unglamorous part of the garden into a sweet-smelling green vignette. Sometimes we have a patch of ground that is just shapeless. Instead of trying to force it into a square bed, embrace the chaos with the spilled pot feature. Lay a large terracotta urn on its side and plant creeping phlox or lobelia flowing out of its mouth. It creates the illusion that flowers have spilled like liquid onto your lawn. It's whimsical, artistic, and turns an awkward, undefined patch of grass into a deliberate and charming conversation piece. That weird triangular wedge where paths diverge or the lawnmower can't reach is the perfect candidate for a mini meadow. Stop fighting the grass there and instead sow a packet of wildflower seeds, poppies, cornflowers, and daisies. This creates a pollinator haven that requires almost no maintenance. It celebrates the wild side of the cottage garden style, turning a geometrically awkward leftover space into a buzzing, colorful ecosystem. Slopes can be tricky and dangerous to maintain, but they are an opportunity for layering. By using tiered wooden boxes or arranging pots on the steps of a slope, you can create a waterfall of greenery without needing to dig into the hillside. Fill them with trailing succulents or strawberries that cascade down the edges. It transforms a difficult change in elevation into a lush, vertical feature that is easy to reach and beautiful to look at. Cottage gardens thrive on personality, and odd-shaped gaps are the perfect home for upcycled treasures. An old wheelbarrow, a bicycle with a basket, or a vintage wash tub can fill an irregular space in a way that standard planting beds cannot. Fill these objects with easy-care annuals like marigolds or zinnias. The object itself provides the structure that the awkward space lacks, adding a touch of whimsy and history that tells a story about the gardener.
Thank you.
If you have a jagged, sunny corner where the soil is poor and shallow, stop trying to grow thirsty plants there. Instead, embrace the conditions with a rock garden, using gravel and drought-tolerant herbs like sage, thyme, and rosemary. These plants love the heat and drainage that rocks provide. It turns a problem dry spot into a Mediterranean-inspired retreat that smells amazing and looks good year-round with virtually no watering. Gardening is hard work, and sometimes we need a space that is just for us. Not for entertaining, but for breathing. Tucking a single, comfortable Adirondack chair into a small nook, surrounded by fragrant sweet peas, creates a private sanctuary. This tea for one spot invites you to sit and observe nature quietly. It's a gentle reminder that your garden is a place for you to heal and rest, not just a list of chores to be finished. garden is more than just plants. It's a living history. Dedicating a corner to pass along plants, the peonies from your mother, the irises from a neighbor, the lilacs that smell like your childhood, transforms a space into a living scrapbook. Every time you look at that corner, you aren't just seeing flowers, you're seeing faces and memories. It creates a deep emotional connection to your land, grounding you in the family traditions that make cottage gardening so special. For many of us, the joy of gardening is sharing it with wildlife. Transforming a quiet corner into a dedicated feeding station, with a bench placed at a viewing distance, creates a theater of nature right in your backyard. Attracting cardinals and blue jays adds a flash of color that rivals any flower. It turns a passive corner into a hub of activity and song, providing endless entertainment and a feeling of connection to the wild world. A quiet corner can feel lonely, but the sound of water changes the atmosphere instantly. You don't need a massive pond. A small solar-powered bubble fountain tucked into a flower bed adds a soothing melodic backdrop to your space. The gentle trickle of water masks traffic noise and creates a bubble of peace. It draws you into that corner, inviting you to pause and listen, making even a small urban garden feel like a secluded retreat. Finally, every cottage garden needs a little bit of mystery. If you have a shallow corner, create the illusion of depth by laying a few stepping stones that lead behind a bush or towards a wall, creating a pathway to nowhere. It tricks the mind into thinking the garden continues beyond what is visible. It adds a sense of magic and expansion, suggesting that your garden holds secrets just waiting to be explored. And there you have it, 30 ways to breathe new life into the forgotten corners of your garden. I hope this video has shown you that no space is too small, too dark, or too awkward to be beautiful. Remember, a cottage garden isn't about perfection. It's about creating little pockets of joy and sanctuary, right where you are. I would love to know which idea sparked your imagination the most. Are you planning to tackle a shady nook, or perhaps hide an AC unit with some beautiful blooms? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading your stories. If you found a little inspiration here today, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps our community grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a moment of garden magic. Until next time, keep making time for gardening. Bye for now.